We're going to start in a couple of minutes. We have about 3 more minutes before 6 p.m. We're going to let the rest of the people jump on before we start. And then I'm going to introduce you to our special guest for the evening. And could everyone turn on their cameras, because I'd like to get a group picture of everyone who's participating. All right. Very good. Yes, 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 yes. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I love to see these aprons.
Yes. Fantastic aprons. All right. Yes, very nice. Very nice. Okay, so it is now 6 p.m. and we're going to start. I would like to introduce you to a couple special people that are on the call today. First of all, I'd like to introduce you to Miss Jana Dean. Miss Jana Dean is the Senior Project Manager from Williams & Sonoma right here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And our other special guest is a very special executive chef, Chef Christy. Say hi, Chef Christy. Jana, would you like to say a couple of words?
Sure. So I'm with Williams Sonoma, and earlier this year we decided we wanted to partner a little bit more in the community, and so we had a group that went out and was trying to find somebody that would make sense to partner with us, because again, I think that Williams Sonoma actually has a lot of different brands. We have a lot of different things that we could do, and so especially we love the mission of 100 Black Men of Las Vegas. I think number one, just being local, because we do have a pretty large here in Las Vegas. We also have retail stores in Las Vegas as well. But like when we talked with Rhonda and Jennifer and kind of heard some of the things that you're interested in, such as the mentoring, and then of course like cooking, I think is very near and dear to our hearts. And so it seems like a really good fit. So hopefully this is the first of many because we're really excited about your mission and want to really be a big part of it. So thank you for having us.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Dean. Chef Christy, take it away.
All right, welcome to Christy's Kitchens. Sorry, I have to take these out. Welcome to Christy's Kitchen. We're going to make some pumpkin moon pies today for a nice Thanksgiving dessert. If you look at the recipe, it does say you should use them within 4 hours, but I swear they freeze really well. So first thing, before we get anything else done, do me 2 favors. If you didn't already take out your butter to bake it up to room temperature and your cream cheese, take it out now. Also, preheat your oven to 350. Like, go and turn it on now. And then we'll come back and do some introductions and say hello.
Just a word of advice based off of my own experience. Check to make sure there's nothing in your oven before you turn it on.
All right, looks like most everyone is back. So we'll go ahead and start. So again, my name is Christy. You can call me Miss Christy or Christy. You don't have to call me Chef Christy. I am with Williams-Sonoma, project manager there. I've been there for about 3.5 years. I, in the past, worked in other fields and that sort of thing, but my passion is definitely food. I have not worked in a restaurant, but I have done catering, specifically for a youth leadership camp. So I'm used to cooking for youngins, where we learned about how to eat healthfully and eat vegetables. I like to explore the world through food, so I know all about foods from different parts of the world, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have about these ingredients or any others. So I believe we wanted to do a quick roll call, Rhonda?
Yes, we would like everybody to say their name and how old they are and tell us your favorite dish to cook. So let's start with Miss Green.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna put my
Hi, Miss
thing
Green,
over
speak
here.
up. We can't hear you.
Hi, my name is Araya.
Hi, Zariah. Turn your volume up on your computer. Okay, speak now. Zariah, let's see. Can we hear you? We can't hear you, Zariah. Let's see. Try it again. Okay, for some reason I cannot hear you. Interesting. Okay, Zariah, with your hands, tell me how old you are with your hands, because I can't hear you.
Maybe because
You're 14?
Oh, it's on Zoom. Never mind.
14? Oh, you're 31? No. You have a 3 and a 1 up. So you got 13?
I am 13.
You're 13, all right, very good. Okay, fantastic. Miss Christian Martin.
Hi, I'm Christian Martin, and
Hi.
I'm 15, and this is my sister, Skylar Martin. She's 7. She's my sous chef for tonight.
Oh, she's your sous chef. Okay, so you're 14, and what's her name?
Skylar. I'm
Skylar.
15.
Welcome, Skylar. Thanks for being his sous chef. Okay, we have next Mr. Lopez.
Hi, I'm Sebastian, and I'm 18.
Okay, hi, Sebastian. Thanks for joining. Next, we have Mr. Sudan.
I'm Sudan Al-Salam. I'm 16.
16. Thank you for joining, Mr. Sudan.
Uh, 17.
17. All right, very good. Okay, Miss Jana. Or Jania, I might be saying it wrong.
I was like, I'm not going to say how old I am.
Jania, can you hear us? We can't hear you. I heard, okay, Janae, turn up your volume a little bit. Janae? Uh-oh, she's frozen. Okay, Janae, we're gonna come back to you. 17, okay, I heard you. Thank you, welcome. Next we have Lamisha Pegas. Lamisha? Lamisha?
Hi, my name is Zaire.
Oh, Zaire. Okay, Zaire.
I'm 13 and I like cooking pasta.
You love cooking pasta. Fantastic. Darren?
I'm Darren, and I'm 15.
Fantastic. What do you like cooking?
I don't really cook like that.
You don't, okay, you're learning. Okay, very good. Covell?
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, my name is Covell. I'm 17, and I like cooking.
And you like cooking? What you like to cook?
Like fried chicken.
Fried chicken. All right, very good, very good. Ryan, your turn.
My name's Ryan Walton. I'm 16.
And what do you like cooking?
I don't really cook like that.
Okay, so you're learning also.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, next we have H. Oh, hi H, how you doing?
Hello,
Hi.
it's Hilda.
Hi Hilda.
How are you?
I'm great. Let your daughter introduce herself.
My name is Angel. I'm 9 and I like cooking noodles.
Fantastic. Thanks for coming. Hi, Egypt, you're next. Egypt? Egypt, are you there?
We're right here. We're here.
Hello.
Hi.
Introduce yourself. Tell us how old you are, what you like to cook.
Hi, I'm Egypt. I'm 16. And I don't really cook that much, so this will be kind of new.
Kind of new?
I'm Alex. I like to cook cup noodles, and I'm 16.
Well, turn your cameras on, Egypt and Alex.
Okay.
And I'm gonna need everybody to cut their cameras on because I got to get a picture of everybody. There you go. Okay, let's see. Now we have Devon Lacey. Miss Lacey?
Davion.
Sorry about that. I'm killing these names. Sorry, Davion. Introduce yourself.
My name is Davion. I'm 12 and I don't cook.
You don't either. So is this your first time?
Yep.
How old are you?
12.
You're 12. Fantastic. Thank you for coming. And then I have a name, Zunigsky. Hi. Let me unmute you.
Muted. Sorry about that. It's my last name and my first and middle initial is my work account. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. What is the chef's name today?
My name is Louis. I'm 13 and I like to cook eggs.
Likes to cook eggs. Very good. Okay, so did everybody say hello? We didn't miss anybody, did we? Okay. Chef Christy.
My daughter Vanessa Lesky standing here, so cute, waiting her turn.
Sorry. Hi, Miss Vanessa. You do look cute. You look really cute, and all of your cookware looks cute. Vanessa, introduce yourself.
I'm Vanessa Lesky. I love to cook chicken. I'm 32.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us. Very good. Okay, Chef Christy, you can take it away.
All right, I'm going to change a few things real quick. I'm also going to highlight a few of my videos. So a little bit of housekeeping. I'm going to highlight my 2 videos so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'll still be able to see all of your shining faces. Don't worry about that. If you have questions, either unmute yourself and holler them out or put them in the chat. And then Jana, if you would read those to me, that would be spectacular. If I am going too fast or too slow, please let me know. Other than that, we will get started. Just give me a second. Okay, can you guys hear me? I think I've got it.
Christy, we can't hear you now.
I swear I unmuted myself. Sorry. All right.
Okay, yeah.
All right. So today we're going to be making moon pies, also known as whoopie pies. I can hear myself again. As said in the recipe. Sorry, I can hear myself and it's driving me crazy.
Okay, so while we're waiting, how many of you guys know what a moon pie is? How many of you have had a moon pie before? You can just raise hands. Okay, good. We've got a couple. Okay, Christy, are you back? We can't hear you. Sorry, this is the first time we've done one of these. Like, we're really, really excited about it, but like we haven't done this before. So thank you guys for being, you know, part of our test group.
Hello? Bueller?
Hello. Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, cool. You can hear me, but I can't hear you. That's fantastic.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear us?
But I still can't hear you. This is obnoxious.
Oh man. Sorry, when we said moon pies, it wasn't supposed to be like she was actually going to the moon. Like, this is for how the communications on the moon go as well. Hey, yeah, Christy, if you only use the one camera, would that help?
Hello?
Hello.
I can hear you. Heaven forbid.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay. Try this one more time. Sorry, guys. And now it's pointing at my cabinet. That's nice. All right, technical difficulties. Can you guys all see me?
Yeah.
Is it just me or everybody else?
We can see, yeah, if you're the bigger picture, so I think this is perfect.
Okay, well, do you also see it side by side with the downward picture of the piece of paper on the counter?
No, we don't see we see kind of like the bigger frame of you in the.
There we go. There we go. Okay, now we've got both things. All right.
Yeah.
Welcome again. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're making moon pies. I heard Jana ask if everybody had them or not. So basically, it is going to be a very soft, cakey cookie with some icing in the middle. They're very good. I just had some the other day. So we're going to go ahead and start. I asked earlier, if you didn't already join, to take out your butter and put it on the counter so that it will get room temperature and your cream cheese. Also, if you haven't already done it, please start your oven to 350. So now we will begin. The first thing we're going to want to do is get our dry ingredients. So we'll want 2 bowls. I have 4 just in case. I'll want a kind of smaller one. We're going to start with measuring our flour. So the trick with flour and baking is that flour tends to settle. So depending on what you do with your flour, it will measure differently depending on how you do it. So if you did something like just scoop it in like this and then like tap it like that, you're actually going to compress that flour down and end up with more in your final product. The way recipes are typically written is they're designed so that the flour is pretty fluffy. So you actually want to do is take a spoon or your cup and give it a little stir and fluff it up so that it is loose. And then you can either scoop or with your spoon, put your flour in your cup. So we need 1.5 cups. So we're going to go ahead and do the first cup. So then what you want to do is you want to fill it until it is a little bit extra full. And I have a very small container. And then take something flat. It could be the spoon handle. It could be a knife like this. And what you're going to do is go back and forth a little bit and level it off. So now you have a nice level 1 cup of flour. And then we're going to do that with 1/2 cup as well. All right, everybody with me so far? We've got 1.5 cups of flour. Okay, then the next thing we want to do is get our baking powder and baking soda and our 1 teaspoon measuring teaspoon. All right, and in a similar way, we don't have to fluff these, but we do want to make sure they're nice and flat, as the teaspoon is the flat. Now my baking powder has this really handy lid here that actually will scrape it right off for you. Yours may not have that. If you don't, bring something flat and scrape it off. So I want a teaspoon of baking powder and a teaspoon of baking soda. Now you may not know this, but baking powder and baking soda have a lot of the same ingredients. Baking powder, the calcium carbonate in here reacts with any acid in the food and bubbles up, just like if you did a volcano when you were in school or anything like that. But baking powder has some of the same ingredients and some other ingredients that actually will react only when it's hot. So what happens is you get a little bit of poofing in the bowl from your baking soda, and then your baking powder will activate. It's what they call dual acting. It will activate inside the oven. So then we also want to do a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. So you can see I have mine in a bowl. So I'm gonna go ahead and just flatten that off. Just like I did with everything else. Put that in. Everybody still following along okay? Awesome. All right. So next up we need some salt. If you're using salted butter, and you will know that because the butter will actually say unsalted if it is unsalted. If it says anything else, especially if it says sweet cream, then it's salted. So if it doesn't say unsalted, then go ahead and don't do salt. You will end up with very salty cookies. So we're going to do 3/4 of a teaspoon. Now, honestly, Getting 3/4 of a teaspoon is a pain in the neck because you have to do a half and then a quarter as fractions. But the salt isn't going to make too much of a difference, so I'm just going to take a little bit out and put it in.
Can you stop, please? Can you, Moses, slow down, please?
Yeah. Where are you guys?
We're on the teaspoon of puree.
You're on the teaspoon of baking powder?
We're on the teaspoon of pumpkin puree. What's after that?
A teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. After the pumpkin pie spice was the salt. Although I do see a question, what's the size of the cup? That was to me individually. I apologize for that. I had a 1 cup and a 1/2 cup so that we could get 1 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour.
It's a pumpkin pie.
So then it was the pumpkin pie spice, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, which is going to be your mixture of, I believe it came to you as a mixture like this. It's cinnamon, clove, and nutmeg.
And just a reminder, you guys, if you need help, if you chat, please send the chat to everyone or send the chat to Jana Dean, be Christy's eyes, because she's going to be cooking away over there. So I can let her, I can give her an audible if we need something, or again, you know, feel free to just kind of like yell out as we had there that like, oh, slow down, or give me a second, and we can change our pace.
Yep, absolutely. And thank you for that. Yeah, my computer is off on the side, so it's hard for me to see it for you guys. So once you get to the pumpkin pie spice, the next is salt. And what I was saying for the salt is if you're using salted butter, you don't need to use the salt. And most butter that you guys find in the grocery store is going to be salted. The way you know is if you look at your package and it says unsalted, then that means it's not. If it says anything else, then it has salt in it. So
they have unsalted. I followed instructions.
Unsalted. Awesome. Okay. So go ahead and put 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. You can do that in 2 different ways. You can use a 1/2 teaspoon and a 1/4 teaspoon, or being a little bit off on the salt's not going to hurt anything. You can use the 1 teaspoon and just not fill it all the way. And then put that in. Once you guys have done that, we're going to take our whisk or a fork, and we're just going to make this nice and mixed. Now, when you're mixing dry ingredients like this, it actually takes longer than you think it's going to. Now, the pumpkin pie spice is a nice visual indicator because it's those little brown dots. So you want to make sure they're all nice and incorporated in so that when we get our final cookie, everything is all nice and mixed together. So that looks good.
Hey, Christy, how much butter was in there?
How much what?
How much butter?
None. There's no butter in this. So this is just your flour. Yeah, we were talking about if you have salted butter, don't use salt, but we have unsalted butter. But we're going to move to the butter next. So I'm going to set this aside. And then in the big bowl that we're going to use for mixing, I'm going to need to melt this butter. So we can put it in the microwave, and that's what I'm going to do. If you guys don't have a microwave handy, we could look at putting it on a stovetop to melt it, but you guys can let me know if that is going to be a problem for you. So for this, we're going to want 1/2 cup of unsalted butter, which is a whole stick. So you can see for the markings on your stick, it comes in tablespoon markings, and it comes in 1/2 of it is a 1/4 cup, and then the whole thing is 1/2 cup. So we're going to stick a whole stick of butter in our bowl, and then we're going to set this off to the side. And Ms. Rhonda, did you get parchment paper for everybody as well?
I did not.
Okay, that's all right. So don't throw away your butter wrapper. Keep that. I swear it's going to come in handy later. Go ahead and microwave from anywhere between 30 and 60 seconds to melt your butter.
Make sure it's not a metal bowl if you're putting it in the microwave.
Good plan, Jan. If it is a metal bowl, go ahead and put it in a cereal bowl or something else that's not metal.
Just in case of the handy advice that I'm giving you guys comes from somebody who started off a really big, so there's a lot of bad things that I have done. So if you have questions about that, let me know.
Excuse me, can you slow down a little bit?
Chef Christie, we just had a couple people just join, Chef Christie. So if you could go back over real quick so they can catch up the flour, baking powder, and baking soda and salt.
Yes, so I'm going to start back at the beginning though. And for those of you who just joined, be sure to take your butter and cream cheese out of the refrigerator and put them on the counter. And preheat your oven to 350 degrees. So that's the first thing. And then we're melting some butter. So for everybody who's on that step, you can see mine's not done. I'm going to put it back.
And there, a question had come in here. So yes, you are trying to melt your butter.
Yes, we are melting the butter. So we're going to go back to the flour mixture. So this is already mixed. But what you're going to need is a cup and a half of flour. So I'm just going to put some in another bowl that make this easy for us. And I'm making 2 batches today. So what we're going to do is measure out a cup and a half of flour. So here I have a 1 cup measurer and a half a cup measure. Now, what I had mentioned before is that flour tends to settle in the canister, and also you want it nice and fluffy when you are going to be measuring it. That's how recipes are designed. So you're going to want to spoon it out after fluffing it up into the measuring cup. And then, or you can fluff it up with your measuring cup and then dunk, and I'll do that on the next one. And you're going to want to fill it just a little bit high and then use something flat. It could be the handle of your spoon or the handle of another measuring cup, and flatten it out like that so you have a nice even cup. And then we're going to do that with the half cup measure as well. So on this one, I'll show you what it looks like to fluff and scoop with your cup. So we're going to fluff it up, scoop it out, and then take something flat and flatten it out.
Can you go slower?
Yes. I'm going to wait here. So you guys let me know when you're ready to move on to the next thing.
Is everybody on the butter step good with your butter? Butter coming along okay? With your butter too, it's better to like melt it gradually than like to, like you don't want to just like in for 5 minutes and get out at the end of that. Like it's better
about 30 seconds at a time. So you can see I have just a tiny bit of butter left in my bowl. And that's okay. It will melt on its own with the heat in the bowl. So we can just stop there. All right, so for everybody who's doing flour, do we have a cup and a half of flour?
Let's assume yes.
Okay. So then we're going to need our baking powder and baking soda. So these do similar things in that they make your cookie poofy. I forgot to mention that last time. So I'm going to start with my baking powder. And they are different. They do different things. Baking powder, it says right on the can, it's double acting. It has sodium bicarbonate and sodium aluminum sulfate. Sodium bicarbonate is the same thing that you get in baking soda. So this is, for everybody watching at home, a 1 teaspoon measuring spoon. I dumped it in my baking powder and then flattened it off with the lid here. Then I'm just going to put it in my bowl. Then for baking soda, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to just dunk our spoon in and level it off with the box itself. So that's 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. We're going to put that in the bowl and just give everybody a second to catch up.
And just a reminder, we're just doing this for the folks who just joined. So if you guys were with us from the beginning, you don't have to be measuring more stuff.
Thank you, Jana, for the clarification there. Yes, so if you've already did this in the beginning, you don't have to do anything else, but we're just catching everybody up. So then for the rest of you who need to be caught up, we need salt. We need 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. So I'm just gonna take my teaspoon measuring spoon, and we could do 1/4 of a teaspoon and 1/2 of a teaspoon to make up 3/4, but honestly, that's a pain. So we're gonna just do a little bit less than a whole teaspoon. It will be fine, I promise. And then last but not least, we're going to do a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. This is a mixture of cinnamon, clove, and nutmeg. It's what gives your pumpkin pie that warm autumn hug flavor. So we're going to do just a quick teaspoon of that. And you can see I'm going to put it in my teaspoon measuring, and I'm going to do just like with everything else and flatten that out. So we get just a nice teaspoon. And put that in. Everybody still following me? All right, so this is the last step for the folks with the dry ingredients. We're just gonna mix them together. You can use a spoon, a whisk, or a fork. And we're gonna wanna make sure it's all nice and mixed together. The pumpkin pie spice will help you out with that, because if you see clumps of it like this, then you have not done enough. So whisk or stir until you don't see any more streaks of that pumpkin pie spice. Get really down in there, make sure to get your edges. And then that's it for the dry ingredients. So now I'm going to set that to the side. The next step for everybody who is just doing dry ingredients. Yeah, go ahead.
It looks like Zariah accidentally used a tablespoon of baking powder and baking soda. And so, Zariah, I would probably recommend that you start over, just because a tablespoon is really a lot more than you need.
Yes. Yeah. I agree with that. Unless you can happen to like scrape it off the top of your bowl. If you already mixed it, then you're gonna have to start over. If you can scrape it off the top of your pile, then you'll probably be okay. You need 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Sorry, I can see it out the corner of my eye right now.
Yeah,
Which
and
is just a little less than a teaspoon.
I think the confusion there is that, like, to measure out 3/4 of a teaspoon is kind of fussy to do. So Christy was just using the teaspoon, but then not using quite a full one to get to the 3/4.
Correct.
And just going back to Zariah's accident there, like, number one, good for you to have noticed this now, because the problem is that, like, a teaspoon and a tablespoon really is, and especially in baking, it is so precise. So again, I'm the bad baker, so I have done any number of things, but like, it was not until people were trying to eat it and then discovered it was way too salty, it was way too spicy, it was way too dry, that, like, that's when I noticed. So again, like, it's so much better to discover this before than after. So good job.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, I have definitely put a tablespoon of salt in cupcakes before. And that is not tasty. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next step with our butter. What we're going to want to do is mix in our brown sugar. So brown sugar, can anybody tell me why it's brown and not white? Anybody? Nobody? All right, I'll tell you. It's molasses. So white refined sugar comes from sugarcane and perhaps sugar beets, but usually sugarcane. But so does brown sugar. But as you are doing the refining process to get that white sugar, there's this stuff called molasses that comes out, and it gives that brown sugar that kind of earthier smell. It has a lot of vitamins and minerals in it, and it gives your cookies a richer flavor. Now, the thing about molasses is it does dry out. So that's why if you have brown sugar in your pantry, you will find that it gets really, really hard. You can make that go away by just microwaving it for a second to get it a little bit soft. but it also makes things very fluffy. So you'll notice in this recipe, it asks for 1 cup of packed light brown sugar. So in this case, what it means is when you're putting it in your cup, you actually want to pack it down with either your fingers or a spoon to make sure that it's filling all those gaps and really becoming a tight.
But Christy, we just lost your audio and your video, like the full kitchen video. Hey, Christy, can you hear me? Okay, yeah, she stopped, so I think she heard me. And I just wanted to check on our folks who joined late. So I think
don't know why my son just stopped, but it did.
I was talking to you. Hey, Christy, can you hear us?
My phone died. Even though it's plugged in.
So I also just wanted to check in on the folks who had joined late, because I think at the time that you joined, we were at the melting butter step. So I know that we had mixed your dry goods, but I just wanted to check to make sure that you guys knew that you were melting a whole stick of butter, and then we were at the point where we were measuring the brown sugar.
Okay, it looks like you're gonna get the top down only. We're gonna do a tasty video today.
That's great.
Anyway, so as I was saying before my phone so rudely died, even though it's plugged in, is that we're packing down our sugar. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, yeah, my microphone is right above my head. So we're gonna finish packing this down until we get a whole cup. And you may spill some like that because it's a bit messy. So once we get to that point,
It's Rhonda, I got a question. Is that butter in your bowl or egg?
Butter. It is melted butter.
Melted butter. Okay, great. Thank you.
So this is our melted butter from earlier. Take your whole stick of butter, or half a cup, put it in your microwave about 20 to 30 seconds at a time until it's mostly melted, and then go ahead and put it in your bowl. So then we're going to whisk together our melted butter and brown sugar. So I'm going to go ahead and put this brown sugar in. You can see that it kind of keeps its shape from that molasses. We're just going to whisk it together or stir it with a spoon until it's smooth. That looks good. All right, so then the other thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do our eggs. So while I'm waiting for that, I'm gonna go ahead and start on this. So for eggs, we have 2 eggs. I like to crack my eggs on a plate. You can do it on the counter. The one thing you don't want to do is crack your eggs on the side of the bowl. I know it's everybody's favorite habit to do, but if you crack your eggs on the side of the bowl, you actually take shards of shell and they end up inside the egg. You have to pick them out later. So you can either do like I'm doing and doing it on a plate, or you can do it on the inside of the bowl like this. And then you crack your eggs, and yes, I'm showing off. That's one-handed. So we're just gonna crack our eggs into our bowl. I'll use 2 hands here. Now the other thing we're gonna have to do once we get done handling these eggs is wash our hands, because there are salmonella germs that could live on your outside of your eggs, and you don't want to spread that around. So I'm gonna go take these to the trash, and then I'm gonna wash my hands. So everybody else who's on this step, please go do the same.
And I suspect it's going to take everybody a little bit longer to do their eggs than it did Christy, because again, she was showing off. So just let us know once you have your eggs done and your hands washed.
Okay, so while you guys are doing that, if you do manage to get shell in there, go ahead and take a quick look. I don't see any in mine. But if you manage to get shell in there, honestly, the easiest way to get the shell out is with the shell. So if you take the bigger piece of the shell, you can kind of dig around in there, and it will work a lot better than trying to dig it out with your finger, I swear.
Although, let me tell you guys a story about the first time that I ever made a cake. And I got shell in the cake and tried to get the shell out. Wasn't really successful getting it out. And so I just figured I'm just going to leave it in. It wasn't a lot of shell. It was just a little bit. But then anyway, somebody was eating this cake and they said, oh, did you put like Rice Krispies in this cake? Because apparently they got the eggshell in the first bite. So.
And then, Rhonda, could you either spotlight my video or make me co-host again? I don't know how that went away. So that everybody can see the hands-on easy.
Oh, we can see you.
Oh, okay. I can't see that, so we're good. All right. So how's everybody with getting their eggs in the bowl? Good? Good? All right. So we're going to take our whisk or fork or whatever we had for this, and we're just going to go ahead and beat our eggs a little bit. They don't have to be super combined. You could still see little streaks of white and yellow. That's okay. We're just going to combine them a little bit.
Excuse me, I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I accidentally put like one of my eggs in like the brown sugar and butter mixture, except it was still like the egg was still on top, and I just poured it back into the bowl. Is that okay?
That's fine. You can also, if anybody else happens to do that, you can just stir it all together. It just comes together a little bit better if you do it separately.
All right, thank you.
All right, so then when you're done mixing, you can see I still have some like clumpies here. That's okay. Then we're just gonna dump it into our bowl with our egg, or with our sugar and our butter.
And the sugar and butter, but we had the sugar already in here. So.
Just, I had seen a question from Davion to go back to the butter part. So you've melted the butter, and then you've measured and you've packed a cup of brown sugar, and then you're just going to whisk that brown sugar into the butter. And then you're going to crack those 2 eggs. So that's kind of where we are at right now.
Correct. All right, the next thing you're going to want to do is measure out your 1 cup of pumpkin puree. So I have to open my can here. Careful of your sharp edges if you're opening a can. And then we're going to go ahead and put that in our 1 cup measuring cup so that we can make sure we get exactly a cup. So I'm going to just take a spoon and put that in my cup. Kind of spread it around to make sure we fill the bottom. And just go until it's full. So one interesting thing about pumpkin puree, it's from typically it's from a sugar pumpkin, but Libby, the company who makes most of the pumpkin puree in the United States, actually has a specific breed of pumpkin that only they use for their pumpkin puree because it gives the same texture and color that they want in their pumpkin puree every time, all the time. So they have a very special breed of pumpkin. All right, so I have my 1 cup of pumpkin puree here. See, I've got it all nice and flat. For the rest of it, you can save it. You can not save it. You can make a nice pumpkin pudding. I'm actually going to make a pumpkin pudding for Thanksgiving with the rest of mine. I'll hold on to it. You can also feed it to your dogs. They really like pumpkin if you have dogs. Or it is good for you with just a little bit of honey and vanilla. So we're going to go ahead and put this in here.
And then Christy, once you get that in, can you just pause for a second? I think I see people still opening cans and stuff like that. So I just want to make sure everybody's good with their pumpkin.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to stop here and just set this off to the side and talk about these cookies. So I don't know if you guys have seen the pumpkin cookies with chocolate chips in the grocery store. I know that I have, and I love those things. So one nice thing about this recipe is if you get to the point where you finish making your cookies, and instead of putting them straight on the sheet, you put pumpkin or chocolate chips in them, it will be pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. So instead of making moon pies out of them, you could make those chocolate chip cookies, and I swear they taste almost identical because I made them the other day. All right, Jana, how are we looking with our pumpkin?
I think we're looking pretty good, like maybe just a couple more seconds. I'm just trying to get a sense of like based off of how people are looking. Can you just give me a thumbs up if you feel like you're in an okay spot? I'm looking for thumbs right now.
We have a question.
Sure.
Can we sub wax paper for parchment paper?
No. No. So wax paper.
They're still there.
Right. Wax
This is a
paper.
good question. This is a really good question.
It is a very good question. So wax paper is paper covered in wax, and it's designed for things like wrapping up meat when you put it in the freezer or covering a dish and then putting the lid on. It's really for making a tight seal. Parchment paper is a paper that's infused with silicone. So the difference between the two is that wax paper, if you put this stuff in the oven, the wax is going to melt right off, get all over your cookies, get all over your pan. It's going to be a mess. Don't do it. Parchment paper, on the other hand.
Pumpkin. Yeah.
Oh, we're just talking. Parchment paper, on the other hand, like I said, it is infused with silicone, and what that does is it makes it a non-stick surface. It won't burn in the oven even at 400 degrees. It'll just get a little bit brown. But since we don't have parchment, that's okay. What we're going to do instead is just butter our pans lightly. But that's a very good question. I've made that mistake. That's why I know it gets everywhere.
That's also why I said it was a really good question. I have done it.
All right, are we good for what we have in this bowl? Just to remind everybody, is the melted butter and 1 cup of brown sugar that has been mixed together. We've got 2 lightly beaten eggs and 1 cup of pumpkin puree. So now that we have all of that in here, we're just going to stir it together with our whisk until it is a nice, even color. It looks a little gross right now, I'm not going to lie. But
it looks like Natalie found some parchment paper too, so I see you.
So yeah, we're just going to stir this all together. Like I said, you can do it with a spoon or a whisk. I have my whisk. Why dirty dishes when I already had this stirred? So we're just going to wait for it to get nice and even. So see, that's nice and even, all mixed together. So I'm done with my whisk for now. I'm going to go toss it in the sink. All right. So once we get to this point, the next part is actually going to be in our dry ingredients. So I'll give everybody a second to get to here.
So Christy, it's Rhonda. We're gonna fold the dry ingredients into the pumpkin puree situation.
That's correct.
Okay.
So we'll don't start without me because you have to fold and be gentle. So what we're going to be looking at here is flour has a protein in it called gluten. And you may have heard of gluten because people are on gluten-free diets. But what is important about gluten is actually what it does in baked goods. So it will create a really chewy texture. If you've ever had a really nice chewy French bread or sourdough bread, that's because of the gluten in the flour. So what we don't want in our cookies is that chewy texture. So the way you get around it is for bread, you have to like knead that stuff and really like work it up to get the gluten going. So to make sure it doesn't happen, we have to be very gentle and delicate with this dough so that we have a nice fluffy cookie when we start. So I think everybody's about where I am looking over there. We're just gonna add our flour mixture to the top. And then take your spoon or spatula. I have a spatula here. And what we're gonna do to fold is it is kind of what it sounds like. You can do it in two ways. You can come from the outside up through the middle and over, and then turn your bowl. From the outside up through the middle and over. Or you can start in the middle and come to the outside and go in. It's pretty much the same circular motion that you'll make, and then as you do it, you turn your bowl. So we're just gonna keep doing that until it looks nice and mixed. It's gonna take a little while, but we're being really gentle with it, and that's okay. Don't forget you can scrape down your sides here. If your wrist gets tired of doing one way, you can always flip and go the other way instead. So it is gonna be a pretty thick dough. And we didn't put any water in it. The only liquid's coming from that pumpkin and the eggs. And that's okay. We want it to be pretty thick. Once you get to this point, you might have to do a little bit of squish and pull, but very gently. Again, wipe down those sides. All right, and we're gonna stop about here. You can see most all of the flour is in, except for on the sides. It's nice and incorporated. So we're gonna stop here so we don't make the chewy cookies. So I'll wait for everybody to get to that point. And then
again, just looking at what Christy's dough looks like, you don't want to see any flour in the dough. Like that's ultimately, you can tell when everything's mixed together when you don't see any dry white.
Correct. So it will come together. It doesn't look like it's going to, but it will. All right, how are we looking?
It looks like we've got a couple done. I think I still see some folding happening.
Okay. I mean, the nice thing about my phone dying is I can look at my computer and not feel bad.
Okay, it looks like I've got most spatulas are down.
All right. So the next thing we're going to do, if you have parchment paper, go ahead and put that on your baking sheet. If you don't, that's okay. We're going to, remember how I told you not to throw away your butter wrapper, because we're going to use it again. See all that nice butter on it? We're just going to use it to butter our baking sheet. We're going to get a nice thin layer of butter on our sheet, and this will keep our cookies from sticking. And it's a nice way to make sure you don't waste anything.
Well, I actually really like to do this too, because then like your hand doesn't get like gooey as well. So like this is really nice. And if you have a butter wrapper and you don't have something to bake, like dogs enjoy licking butter wrappers too.
Now, if you did throw away your butter wrapper, that's okay. You will likely have a half a stick of butter left over from the, what's it called? Frosting we're gonna make in a little while. You can take a paper towel and just a little bit of the butter and do the same thing. And you don't need much. It's a very, very thin layer, just enough to keep it from sticking, not enough to fry our cookies. All right, you guys let me know when you are about ready to move on.
I think it looks like our groups are ready.
All right. So what we're gonna do now is put our cookies on our sheet. So when I did this the other day, I made my cookies way too big. I ended up with these huge moon pies. So I'm gonna try not to do that today. So what it says is a heaping tablespoon. So I have my actual tablespoon measurer here. So you can see it's 1 TBLS, tablespoon. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna dip that into our dough. Can you see my dough? Yep. We're gonna dip that into our dough until it is just a little bit heaping like that. So you can see it's not flat, it's just up a little bit. And then I'm gonna use I just got water on myself. We're gonna use a little bit of another spoon to help us get this off. So we're gonna start up in one of the corners because we're gonna wanna have these relatively close together. So I'm just gonna, they don't have to be perfect. They actually turn out to be a nice round dome, even if you make them look like that. So we're just gonna keep on going with our slightly heaping tablespoon. And then we're gonna do them about 1 inch apart. So about that much space between them. And we're just gonna scoop it out and keep going. So this is actually probably the longest and boringest part of this whole process, is scooping this out onto the sheet. So if anybody has any funny stories about baking or wants to tell us something about what they might want to learn to cook in the future, that would be spectacular.
I also just want to mention too, like the spacing that Christy's doing right now. This is actually fairly important, but again, this is actually fairly forgiving. So if for whatever reason you get them a little bit too close to each other, what will happen is they will just kind of like grow into each other while they bake. So they won't be quite as pretty, but they'll still be delicious. So don't worry about that. But like, again, like you can kind of see Christy's spacing. So if you can do that. And then the other thing too is I always have the desire to like just use my fingers for things. And again, you can see like just kind of how nice and tidy this is with, you know, Christy's 2-spoon technique. So, you know, do what you're comfortable with, but like this is going to keep it a little bit neater if you do it that way.
So how many cookies can we get on one sheet?
So supposedly you can get all 18 cookies on the one tray. I ended up spilling over into a second tray the other day. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
So if you don't get all of your cookies on one tray, we can either get another tray or you can do 2 batches of cookies, and it's really not going to be too big of a deal.
Okay.
Yeah, what Jana was saying is, honestly, I think I actually have these ones a little bit close together. So they're probably going to grow together in the oven and I'm going to have to cut them apart, but that's okay. They will still be very tasty.
So, Davion, I think, so you should mix all your dry stuff together. Then you have a bowl of the wet stuff. So the butter was the start of the wet stuff, then the brown sugar, and then you cracked and lightly beat some of the eggs, and then the pumpkin puree goes into the wet mixture. So you're going to mix all of the butter and the sugar, the eggs and the pumpkin puree together, and then you're going to fold all the dry things into that bowl. So ultimately it all ends up in the big bowl together, but it's really important to mix the wet stuff in that order and then also have your dry stuff already mixed together before you bring them all together. See a lot of people with the spoon technique. Looking good, guys. This is also the bad part too, is because I know, Christy, you were saying this is the boring part and people could tell stories, but like people can't unmute themselves at this point because they've got 2 spoons in their hands.
Right, so we just get to listen to Jana telling stories. Or if I happen to think of any good ones.
I will say that I read some interesting history on the moon pie. So it was actually invented in Tennessee by a traveling salesman. And he had asked somebody had said that they wanted a snack. It was a miner, and you know, they do a lot of work and work hard, so they were very hungry, and so he had asked what they wanted, and somebody had said, like, I want a snack the size of the moon. And what the original moon pie was, though, was it was like 2 graham crackers with marshmallow in the middle, and it kind of became a big thing. Oh, this is a good question. Natalie has a good question. Says you build gingerbread houses, and actually William Sonoma has gingerbread houses. Maybe that's what we do the next time for Christmas. If I can get a hold of some gingerbread houses, maybe just decorate gingerbread houses. I have actually not ever. I kind of feel like I'd like to do gingerbread houses. I was just trying to think if I've ever made gingerbread, but no, I have not done anything like that, but I would really like to. That's a good question. Okay, I have a volunteer for that. So yeah, if we can do the gingerbread houses, that would be a fun one.
All right, so you can see I am out of space, but I still have a little bit of dough left. So this is going to be a hoot. Honestly, I am probably not going to bother with this 1 cookie worth of dough, and I might deal with it later off camera. Spoon. But I will professionally tell her not to eat raw eggs because they could have salmonella.
This is why I don't get to teach the cooking classes, is because I'm full of bad information, because I do like to sneak cookie dough.
All right, so you can see I made a little bit of a mess here. I'm just going to wipe that up, otherwise it's going to burn. You don't have to if you have the same issue. But when you're done, what we're going to do next is then put them in the oven. So we're most of the way done. This is the hard part for sure.
So we put them in the oven for how long?
All right, so it's going to depend a little. If your cookies are about the size of mine, it's going to be 8 to 10 minutes. If you overheaped a little bit and they're a little bit bigger, it's going to be closer to 12. So we're going to just have to check here in a few minutes. So I'm going to put mine in for 8 and then check them. So I'm going to go do that now.
And here's the thing with like baking also, is it's always easier to set your timer for less time than you think than for more time than you think. It's like cutting your hair. You can always like cut more off, but you can't get it back. So same thing with your timer. If you think that like you might need 12 minutes, maybe you start with the 8, and then you can always put it in for more time if you need to.
If we were to add like chocolate chips, would we do it right now?
You would do it before you put them on the pan.
Okay.
So yeah, when you were at the point where you were folding all your stuff together, that would be the time for chocolate chips or nuts, or you know, if there's stuff like that that you like in a cookie.
Yep, agreed. The mix-ins, I kind of leave the world open to you. Just don't mess with the ratio of the flour and the sugar and the eggs and all of that. That's what gives you the texture. But if you wanted to mix anything in, to your point, Dana, like, you know what might be good is like pecan praline. Some praline pecans would be really good. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to wait for this to finish baking. Then we have to take them out and let them cool. While they're cooling, we'll make the frosting. So we have 10 minutes to go around and ask what people might want to learn to cook. Once we get to that point. I still see some folks putting stuff on their trays though.
Do you build a gingerbread house? Yes, I have a volunteer.
Yeah, we'll definitely look into gingerbread houses. It's funny because like right before this call, somebody was asking me if we still had gingerbread houses available. So we do have sets, but like there's also ways that you can like bake your own gingerbread and then put together a house. So like I think that for the holidays, a lot of times people, I mean, I don't really enjoy baking. So if I can buy stuff and then just decorate it myself, I'm good with that. But there is something really nice about baking gingerbread because it makes the whole house smell really delicious. But yeah, I think that gingerbread is a really great idea. So we will definitely look for that for the next time. Oh yeah, the kittens are miserable. Cats are always helpful, aren't they?
We do the gingerbread house every year, and it's so much fun. And we just learned, which we haven't done yet this year, how to do it with Pop-Tarts. Doesn't that sound fun? Yes.
Yeah. See, like just like I was saying, it's like I like to have the stuff already constructed. All I have to do is put it together. So yeah, that's a really good idea.
I like it.
I think Christy was telling us when she was talking about what you could do with the pumpkin leftover that like dogs enjoy it. So apparently cats enjoy it too. Darius the baking ninja. That is awesome.
Very nice.
Okay, so what else would people like to learn how to cook? Like, because again, Rhonda was saying that, you know, we'd like to do more cooking, and we're definitely open to suggestions. Again, you guys are kind of helping us to sort of perfect our craft here, because again, we've never done one of these before either. So if there are, you know, certain things that you guys would like to either learn how to cook or learn how to bake or like learn a little bit more about, like I would definitely love to have your suggestions so that we can kind of figure out how we can incorporate some of this into other classes. I know this group is not shy, but it looks like they're busy. There's a lot of people still baking.
I have a question. So can you use the extra pumpkin puree to make pumpkin pancakes?
You could. You could absolutely do that.
Okay. Or I can make some pumpkin cupcakes too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So pizza is always fun to make from scratch for young people. Really easy, a lot of fun, and you know, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. There's the cauliflower crust, the regular crust, you know, and even gluten-free to help with the people who are gluten-free. And it is such an amazing, fun thing to do. We do this a lot, so we know. So that's an idea.
That's also a really good idea, because I'll be honest with you, like Christy was talking earlier about flour and gluten and what that does when you're baking, and that's the part that I'm really, really, really bad at. So any of those like crusts that don't really require a lot of like pulling and folding and stuff like that, I think is great. Holy cow, Davion has just made me like really hungry, because the recommendation of pan-roasted salmon with arugula and avocado salad sounds amazing. So I'm not sure that I want to cook that as much as I just want to eat that. But to be honest, though, like salmon is really easy to cook with. And especially, I think that arugula, I love arugula so much. There's something so nice and peppery about that it's kind of unusual in the sense that I don't think that people always think about that when they're making salads, but it's really it's delicious on pizzas. It's delicious as a side. But yeah, I like the sound of that too. Oh, and then Christian's saying souffle and creme brulee, and I think those are.
Souffle. I'll tell you one right now. perfect your folding technique. Because you have to be extra, extra gentle with those eggs. And then be sure you use lots of sugar on the inside of your souffle dish.
Yeah. It's fun to do, because like I also think that like that's the type of thing where it is particular and it's a little fussy to make one of those, but when you get it right, there's no greater feeling. But and technically it's I don't want to say that it's not difficult, because it really is about technique. It's a very technique specific. Both of those are technique specific items, but yeah, again, like once you got it down, but like you did already start doing some of this, because the folding that we were doing earlier is really, really, really important in any of those things where you're working with eggs. Oh yes, Sebastian, yes, please put your cookies in the oven. And again, make sure that you set your timer. I think everybody else is starting like in the 8 to 10 minute range, but like I said, it's always easier to set your timer a little bit earlier than you think it is, and then you can check it versus you can't go back if you've overcooked it.
They smell amazing. I can smell the cinnamon coming up through the cookies.
Oh, there's my timer.
Oh.
So I just wanted to introduce myself real quickly. I'm so excited about seeing what you guys cook up, and I want to see pictures. I'm the social media manager for 100 Black Men of Las Vegas. So please, please, please tag us in all of your posts. We want to see your goodies, your baked goods on social media. We appreciate it. Facebook and Instagram.
This is
Yes,
awesome.
as a matter of fact, if everybody could text me or email me a copy of their finished product, that would be great. So we want a picture of you and your product together or separately. But if you could email me, you all have my email address, and you all have my cell phone number for my text. So please send those, because we want to see what they look like.
Yes.
Okay, so just for everybody to see, these are not done. So you can see there's still some liquid. They're very shiny. And then if you poke them in the center, some of mine are actually like gooey. This one's still a little bit gooey. So I'm gonna put it in for about 2 more minutes. But that's how you can kind of tell when you're done.
And again, you probably couldn't see the edge. Obviously, she's not holding that pan with her own hand. So just be careful when you take them out of the oven. And then if you're touching to, check temperature or doneness, just be careful with that too. So excited to see how
everybody's is going to get done a little bit at a different time.
Jeff, where did you say that you cooked that? Chef Christy?
Oh, sorry. I heard Jeff, not Chef. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm 52 years old with braces, so my a little off.
Not used to answering to Chef either. So there was a leadership camp called ICANN of Las Vegas. They are still around to an extent, but not in the same way. And I cooked for their summer camp. So it was a week every summer for about 80 to 100 kids. And I cooked all 3 meals every day, plus dessert and snacks. So it was just me in the kitchen. So these days, Thanksgiving does not scare me.
Everybody cut your cameras on, because I need to take a group photo again. Everybody cut your cameras on. I want to see those pearlies. All right, Ryan, Darren, Tony, King, cut your cameras
My
on.
timer. Hold on.
Okay, don't let your cookies burn though.
Oh, but don't let your cookies burn. I've made mine kind of big, so they're taking a couple more minutes.
Oh, Tony doesn't have a camera.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Thank you, Tony. King, we haven't seen you. Where's your
We
camera?
have our own vanilla extract that we make from scratch.
All righty, Top
Ooh.
Chef.
All right. Sorry, my cookies still were not done, so it's okay if your cookies are not done yet. Like I said, they look very wet still on top. They're very, very shiny. They're gonna get a little bit dull when they get to be done.
I like to see all this activity in the kitchens. A lot of things going on right now.
Are they supposed to be flat?
They'll be fairly flat.
Are they supposed to be flat?
They'll be a little bit flat. Like they're gonna, instead of being little pucks, they'll flatten out into cookies.
How do these look?
Those look amazing.
Oh, those look great.
Okay, I think
wish I
they're done. When you're able to lift them off of the parchment paper, correct? There.
Yeah, and if when you're able to lift them off, they don't look wet anymore.
Yeah, they're dull. They're not wet.
Good, yeah, they should be done. So then, for those of you who do have cookies that are already done, you'll want to take them off that baking sheet so that they can cool. If you happen to have a cooling rack, go ahead and use it. If you don't, some paper towels or a clean dish towel on the counter will be just fine. Ooh, look at those. Those are some nice cookies.
Somebody did a good job folding.
Right?
Here are mine. See them. Can't really see them.
So your cookies actually won't be hard. They should be soft, but like they shouldn't be runny, and they shouldn't be, you know, like if you kind of gently press the center of them, they should. So if they're still a little bit wet, like just go ahead and put them back in the oven. I would probably, you're kind of at a point now where you can probably set your timer for, you know, a couple of minutes at a time. But again, like they aren't going to be dry when you pull them out. And again, like they shouldn't be hard. They should be a little bit fluffy.
Agreed, yeah. So they're going to be more like cake than like a chocolate chip cookie.
They're good.
So you want them just to be a little bit dull on the top, and then they'll still be soft though.
They are so good. Oh, they're so good. Oh, we're loving.
Frosting in there too. That's going to be even better. But yeah, that's one of the other things too about like baking, especially when you're baking, you know, for yourself too. You can sample as you go, and you know, you can also determine if this tastes good to you, or if you feel like it should be a little bit drier or something like that.
All right, I'm going to take my cookies out.
Here's my perfect cookie.
Yes, that's gorgeous.
This would be good with a nice cold glass of eggnog. Oh, yummy.
I love eggnog.
All right, so you can see mine, they're a little bit dull now. They're not super shiny anymore. And when I poke them, they're not sticky. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop there.
You should have tried it with the ice.
Then I'm gonna start taking my cookies off. I'm weird. I start from the
Oh, this is like hours. Yeah.
So you can see some of my cookies stuck together. That's okay.
And again, just be careful because I think that, you know, you always want to like try to press down on the pan or something like that. Just make sure that if you're touching the pan that you have, you know, a towel or something to protect your hands.
Yes, I'm hands-free, but you can use your pot holder or your towel. I also did make sure to put down something to protect my countertop from the heat. So I put down another pot holder.
I can see that.
Actually, it's one.
Wait, is Darcy done?
Yes. I thought I was actually making the food with them.
The sugar free.
Tell you, it's one around. You have to.
Doesn't flour have sugar in it?
No.
What was that a question for one of us? Does flour have sugar?
He has lots. Oh yeah.
So we can make some
nice
That's so good.
These are really good.
Oh no.
So how's everybody doing? Does everybody have cookies out of the oven now? Everybody's just kind of going through this part. I do love to see how many people are sampling as we go. Again, like you don't have to wait till the end.
Jimmy, I'm also eating now. Jimmy, can I frost mine?
Really good.
All right, yeah, I always eat the little crumbs so that I still have an even number of cookies.
I've already eaten 2 cookies.
That's okay then. You still have an even number of cookies.
If you're gonna stick the cookies, eat an even number.
You better make this recipe with me another day so I can have some. They said if you're taking a photo, please. Okay, so can we make the frosting?
I guess I'll be making the frosting.
Yeah. All right, we'll be making the frosting. Once everybody's cookies, for the most part, are out, we don't want anybody to accidentally burn their cookies while we make frosting.
Yeah, you do.
All right, how is everybody and their cookies doing? Show of hands for who has their cookies done. Okay, we got at least 2, 3.
Devion said he just put his in the oven.
And yes, we're making the filling, frosting, icing, whatever you want to call it. It'll be
Okay. Cool.
All right, well, while we're waiting, we can talk about what we're going to need. So we're going to need a half a stick of butter, and that's the, oh, somebody already made their frosting.
They did.
That looks great.
Those look good.
They do look good.
We made ours too.
Oh, we have some top chefs here.
Yeah. So what we will need is 4 tablespoons or half a stick of butter that is softened, which is why I asked you guys to get it out at the beginning. Then we'll also need a quarter of a pound or half of a block of cream cheese. Again, I asked you to get that at the beginning. Then we'll need a cup of confectioner's sugar.
and a half a teaspoon of vanilla. So if you don't already have that stuff around, go ahead and get it. And then you'll also need a electric hand mixer. And I've got mine from like circa 1995.
You already did the frosting.
Well, you guys are super high achievers. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my electric mixer together with its little beaters. All right, and then once we're most of the way done with now, once we're most of the way done with our cookies, then we can go ahead and get started. I just don't want anybody's cookies to burn while we make frosting. And they will need, your cookies will need about 10 to 15 minutes to cool before we put the frosting, otherwise they will melt the frosting. So we can have plenty of time to do that while the cookies are cooling. Oh, I see some more cookies coming out the oven. Yeah. All right, how are we feeling about starting that frosting? Good? Yeah. I see at least one thumbs up.
We can start the frosting.
I think you. All right. All right, I'm going to switch my camera back to our overhead view. Okay. So for the frosting, it's pretty easy. We're going to start with our 4 tablespoons of butter. I have a whole stick here. We're going to only want to use half of it. So it's nice and melty because it's been sitting out. I'm going to cut it in half. You can also use your markings on the back side of your butter. So you can see your markings here. You can see 4 tablespoons. You can also do that and then cut there. I'm going to set that off to the side. And then your half a block of cream cheese. I used the other half a block when I was testing this the other day. Oops. But you can just cut it in half like the other. I'll put that in. Come off. All right, and then we're going to take our electric mixer, which I still have to plug mine in, and we're going to beat together the cream cheese and the butter until they're smooth. It'll take about a minute or 2. While I do that, I'm going to mute myself so you don't have to listen to it. Before I start though, I just want to remind everybody that as you're mixing these things, if you lift up your mixer while you have stuff on your little bladey things, you will make a giant mess all over your kitchen and your grown-ups will probably be very mad. So be very careful to make sure that your tines always stay within the bowl. You can move up and down and around a little bit, but make sure that they stay down in your bowl.
I also just wanted to mention, because I can't see exactly how everybody's mixing is going. If you start doing this and it just seems like you're trying to, you know, blend the ice cube or something like that, if your cream cheese or your butter isn't quite soft enough, you can take that bowl and put it in your microwave. I wouldn't do this for very long, like maybe, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and then you kind of do that for a couple of seconds at a time, just until you get it to the point where it's soft. You don't want it to be melted, so again, don't put it in for a long period of time. But if you had taken out your butter a little bit too late, or your house is really cold, you might have a harder time trying to mix.
Yeah, agreed. And then, yes, half of the block. So the block is 8 ounces, you want 4 of cream cheese specifically. So then the next thing is we want a cup of confectioner's sugar. So confectioner's sugar is interesting stuff. It's very finely ground white sugar. So finely ground that it's powder, and then mixed with some sort of food starch, so like a cornstarch or a tapioca starch, so that it doesn't clump. And then the other thing about it is it will thicken over time as the starch absorbs water. So like I said, a cup of this. I'm going to use my half cup twice because my full cup still has pumpkin in it. So I'm going to go ahead and just do this one twice. Now this one's a bit of a pain in the neck because you really should do the whole flattening thing, but it comes in such a very inconvenient box for that we're going to just try and get it by doing the little shake method. There we go. All right, so that's half a cup. I'm gonna do that one more time. And if you're lucky, you'll get a little bit in the air, and every breath you take will be sweet. All right, and there's my 1 cup of powdered sugar. All right, and then we're just gonna blend. So before I start, what we're looking here for is not just for it to be combined. Combined is good, but we want to go for an extra minute or 2 until it's fluffy. And that way it makes a really nice filling for your moon pies. So I'm going to go ahead and mute again. Before I do, does anyone have questions? No, all right. So I'll go ahead and go. If you do have questions, speak up. I probably won't hear you over my mixer, but Jana will, or put them in the chat.
You hear my macaroni? You wanted me to make macaroni and mac and cheese, right, for Thanksgiving?
Actually, this reminds me, when you put your powdered sugar in, be sure to start on the lowest setting on your mixer. Otherwise, you're going to end up with powdered sugar all over your kitchen. So be sure to start very low like this. And then once you have it a little bit better combined, you can pick up that speed a little to get it fluffy. So I'm going to be at this for a second while it's all combined.
Our poor dog has been walking around begging for anything to drop on the floor. I mean, she is, boy, she's hoping.
Well, and that's a reason maybe to not put chocolate, and you can share.
There you go. All right, so you can see this is mixed together, but it's not fluffy yet. So now I'm going to kick that speed up to like medium high and go until I get some air whipped into it, which is going to make it fluffy.
Uh-oh, I see Rhonda's up to no good.
It's really good. Really good.
And the nice thing is, because there are no eggs in the frosting, even Christy cannot complain about people trying to like lick the bowl. So you're good.
This is super good. Love it.
It is surprising, I think, how delicious cream cheese frosting is and how easy actually it is.
That was so easy to make.
The cookies are delicious.
Aren't they?
had the vanilla extract that they had made themselves? Was that the group who had to leave early?
They're still here. Sudan, how was your frosting taste?
It was good.
It was good?
Yeah.
How did you make your own vanilla?
Oh, I don't really remember because mostly my mom made it by herself.
Where's your mom?
She went to go get something, but she'll be back.
Okay. Tell her we want her vanilla recipe.
Okay.
Speaking of vanilla, I forgot to put mine. So I'm going to put it now and whip for another little second. But what you're looking for is for your frosting to almost double in size and go from like a light yellow to an almost creamy white.
I just wanted to check in on Davion. How are your cookies coming along, and have they come out of the oven yet? Oh, yes. So
I'm checking
yeah,
on them. Still kind of like off.
Okay, that's fine. I can't remember when.
You do want them to be soft, but not like when you touch them, you want them to be not. You want your finger to come away clean.
Doughy.
Right. You want them to be soft though. They're like cake.
Yeah, mine I can still like if I poke, it leave a mark, so I put them back in.
No, it's okay if they leave a mark. Go ahead and take them out as long as it's not sticking to your finger.
Look what I have here. I have an animal playing.
Turn your camera on so we can see it.
Yeah.
So cute.
I messed up on like two little parts, so I just gave it to my dog and that one.
All right.
All right. So I have no problem telling you guys you can lick these beaters because there's nothing harmful in it.
Yeah, and Zariah, if you choose to like eat all the frosting instead of putting it in cookies, like I'm not going to say anything to anybody.
So also, just like the cookies, you can put different mix in and make them different cookies. This frosting is like a go-to cream cheese frosting. So you can use it on like a spice cake or a carrot cake or a red velvet cake. And you can use this same frosting and then wow all of your friends with this super easy frosting that did not come out of a cake.
Right.
All right, so whenever you guys are finished, we can start making our moon pies.
Okay, is everybody at the part where they're ready to frost? It looks like Natalie is ahead.
Indeed. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take one and then take it to the flat side up and take about a tablespoon of filling. Now, don't go too crazy because you have to fill all of them. But if you already ate some of your cookies, know you can use that frosting on the others. So I'm going to do about a tablespoon. What was that?
I said, but if you already ate a lot of the frosting, then
right,
that's
then
the
do
problem.
less. And then, so you can see all of my cookies are slightly different sizes. So I'm going to try and find one that kind of matches the one I have in my hand. So this one I think is going to fit best, and I'm going to make my little pie. Oh, it's stuck over, so I'm going to have to eat that one first. So we're just gonna do this to all of our cookies. Note, if you stack them up on the plate, the cookie itself is a little bit sticky. They will stick together a little. They'll still be tasty though. Sounds like somebody's having a good time over there.
Well, let's see some of the finished products. I see Christy's. Hers look good.
I'm cheating.
Oh, that looks good, Zahara. That's good. Oh, that's really looks good, Hilda. Yes, that looks good. Mm-hmm. Oh, Natalie, yours look fantastic, Natalie. Good job. Fantastic.
Vanessa.
Oh, Vanessa. Fabulous, Vanessa. Fabulous. Fabulous. Where are my other chefs? Let me see your final product. And don't forget to take a picture and send to me. All right. Oh, those look good. Oh, you put frosting on top and in the middle. I like that.
Ooh.
Very
Nice.
clever.
Like it. I like it.
Darren looks good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, Darren, that looks wonderful. Wonderful. Mm-hmm. They look great. Tony, yours looks great. Thanks for the photos. Wonderful. Fantastic.
Okay, so who's eaten one of their cookies yet? Like, I know people were snacking before they were put together, but who has eaten some of the cookie plus frosting?
I think everybody has tasted a cookie, haven't they?
How can you not?
Okay, wait. Devian said they still need to make the filling. Wait. Okay, I'm waiting on you, Devian. I'm waiting because I want to see your final creation.
Oh, Christy. So
Tony, they are good, aren't they? Tony says they're good. She don't even like pumpkin. She likes these. That's great.
Filling board. I'll be right back. I need to deliver a cookie to my husband before he gets mad and jealous.
Bye, Lamisha.
Well, I'd like,
Thank you.
was saying too, if you made too many cookies here, or you feel like you have to sort of control yourself a little bit and not eat all of them, you can freeze these. They actually freeze pretty nicely. So that's something else you can do, especially if that's also something where maybe you want to share these on Thanksgiving and you don't know that they can stay in your refrigerator that whole time. You can freeze these and they'll actually hold up very nicely.
Oh, very good.
Yes, so I just put them in a Ziploc bag, like a gallon-sized Ziploc bag, and put them flat in the freezer to freeze, and then leave them out on the counter with a cover for a couple hours to defrost, and they'll be good to go.
Okay, great. I like that. I like it.
So I think Davion is trying to make the filling.
Yep.
The good news is you don't have to cook anything. You just have to take the butter and the cream cheese and blend that together. And then you're going to put the sugar in and you're going to continue to blend it and then just add a little bit of vanilla. So it will come together pretty quickly, but it's really about like just making sure that you're blending those ingredients.
And specifically with a hand mixer, not a blender.
Oh yeah, sorry. That's a good point. All right, well, thank you guys again so much. Like I said, this was our first time trying to cook with you guys. Williams-Sonoma, love, you know, what's happening at 100 Black Men of Las Vegas. We definitely want to figure out, you know, other ways that we stay involved with you guys. This was so much fun for us. I hope you guys had a good time and had, you know, fun cooking with us. But I'm serious, if there are some other things that you guys would like to know how to cook, or there's things that you want to know about, you know, cooking techniques and things like that, if you guys can let Rhonda know, and we'll be in touch with her to just kind of figure out how do we continue doing things like this, or, you know, what other types of things can we be involved in, because this was a lot of fun. I hope you guys had a good time.
Everybody have a good time? Unmute yourself.
Yep, while I'm making my filling.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. We had a great time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Would you like to see my cookies?
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to see everybody's cookies. So if you haven't shown me, don't leave. I'm not leaving. I want to see the cookies.
Oh, and Rhonda, if you can share some of the cookies and like the cookie selfies with us, I'd love to see those too.
Okay, I will. I absolutely will. Oh, no, they look good. Those look good, Davion. Good job. Good job. Fantastic. Now the frosting is easy. Have you started putting it together?
Yeah.
Okay. That's really easy.
I like just unwrap my butter.
Okay. Well, I'll wait till you finish your frosting so I can see it. Christian, yours looks really good. Christian, really good. Nice. Very nice.
Thank you, everyone. I had a good time. Nice
Thank
to
you,
meet
Michelle.
Jenna, Chris. Thank you so much. Hey,
Thank
Jenna,
you.
is there a certain social media profile handle, social media handle you guys have?
I don't, but
Just use the general one?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, that would be great.
Okay. All right, perfect. All right, thank you guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Michelle.
you so much.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you, Hilda.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for coming.
Bye. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Bye. Thank you.
King, how are you doing?
We're doing good. We're putting the frosting on the cookies.
Okay, great. Fantastic.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Where do I cut my cream cheese at?
Your cream cheese? Okay, so I use that whole block.
The whole block?
Half of it.
Oh, half? Oh,
Half.
Okay, well, okay, don't listen to me. Use half of it. Chef Christie said half of it.
Don't mind me, I'm just taking my cookie selfie over here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My cream has been sitting out for a bit, so
Okay.
like it's easier to cut. I can cut in.
Yes.
Good. Yep, perfect.
That's perfect.
It was easier to go through.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm hoping it'll be easier to get out.
Oh, it will be. So you have your cream cheese, your powdered sugar, and your vanilla, right?
I have my butter, and my cream cheese in the bowl right now.
Okay, great.
That. And then I will. What's next? 1 cup of confectioner's sugar. What does the confectioner's sugar look like?
It's the powdered sugar. It's white.
This one?
Yes.
Now, Davion, you're gonna want to mix up the cream cheese and butter first a little bit to mix them together with your thing, and then put your powdered sugar.
Okay.
Hi, Ryan. You need any help? Ryan, you need any help?
Ryan left.
Oh, hi, you're there?
Yeah, sorry.
How's it going?
It's going great. I finished.
Oh, put your camera on so we can see. Oh, nice. Very nice. Fantastic. Did you eat one yet?
You said what?
Did you eat one yet?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
You like it? Okay, fantastic. That's great. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Christy, I think everybody had a good time.
Good.
I think they had a good time.
They at least got a good snack out of it.
Yeah, they did. So did I. Mine was dinner.
Yeah.
Okay, so Christy said you can put it in the microwave for like what, 30 seconds, Christy? The cream
Maybe,
cheese?
yeah, no more than that. I think part of the problem is you're using a whisk attachment instead of an actual hand mixer. So it will fling things around. You can also use a deeper bowl.
What about this attachment?
It would probably work. Yeah, it might still be a little bit thick for that.
I'll try and see.
You got a blender?
Well, that's the thing he had is an immersion blender.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, just put the cream cheese in your microwave for about 30 seconds, and then it'll probably be it'll be ready to rock and roll.
You can serve that one if you want.
Christy, you got a lot of cookies to eat. You've been cooking cookies for 2 days.
I know. That's why I'm freezing them, because we're gonna see some friends this weekend. I'm gonna make them eat them all.
That's nice. That's nice. Yeah, I might have to hide them from myself because I've had 4 cookies already. So
Yeah. The nice thing about freezing them though, because since they're frozen, you can't really eat them. Like you have to keep it in advance.
Right. Yep.
Does this look good?
It looks like you need to mix it some more. It is what we call broken, separated.
So now mix it with your little hand mixer.
A lot.
Okay.
Is that the cream cheese by itself, or is it the cream cheese and the butter?
Okay, what about this?
Okay, let's see.
Oh, 1 second. I gotta fix my camera. Better?
It looks better. Can you put your whisk in and whisk it around for me a little bit? It looks a little liquidy. So what you're going to want to do is probably put that in the refrigerator for just a few minutes before you ice your cookies, so that it sticks on your cookies a little better.
Did you put your powdered sugar in there yet?
No.
Oh, do that. That'll help.
Yeah, put your powdered sugar in there. That'll help.
Okay.
So Christy, do you do when it's not COVID in the store? Do you do demonstrations in the store?
No, I don't go into the store very often.
Oh, okay.
Pretty well locked to my desk.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when I lived, where did I live? When I lived in Michigan, we have a Williams-Sonoma store out in Somerset.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to go out there all the time for classes. It was just something fun to do, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really enjoyed it. It's a beautiful store also.
They're all gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing now, since we can't have people in the stores, we're doing like online cooking demos.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's way thicker now.
Okay.
Good.
1 cup of sugar helps it.
Good.
So it's nice and creamy and fluffy, right?
From the sugar, it still has like clumps. But
Yeah. Do it real, like, get really into it. Like, you can't just stir like that. You'll have to, like, take your whisk and really get into it and go back and forth.
And you'll see it change. You'll see it turn fluffy. But you gotta move it fast though.
You'll get your workout.
Yeah, you get your workout.
does that look good?
It's looking better. I think you're definitely gonna want to put it in the refrigerator, so you won't be able to finish right now. You'll want to put it in the fridge and let it firm up a little bit. And then you'll be able to frost your cookies. It's just a little bit melty because you had to melt it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I wonder, Christy, should he add the rest of the cream cheese? What do you think?
He won't be able to get it to emulsify, for lack of a better word. It'll just be like lumps. It'll be cream cheese islands in his icing soup.
Oh, got it.
So I really think putting it in the refrigerator for probably about half an hour will firm it up, and then you can ice your cookies.
Devian, does that sound like a plan? Devian? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, it sounds like a plan.
What's that again?
So you're gonna put your icing in the refrigerator for 30 minutes, and then it's gonna firm it up, and then when you pull it out, you'll be able to ice your cookies.
What about the freezer?
You could do the freezer for 15.
Yeah, you can do the freezer for 15 minutes.
I got a timer on my computer. Oh, look at that. Loveliness. Did you have fun? My dog's gonna lick my fingers right quick.
So Devian, if you can hear us, what you can do is, in about 15 minutes after you put your frosting in the freezer, you can take it out and frost your cookies and then text me a picture so I can see them. I'm gonna put my phone number in the chat in case you don't have it. So you can send me a picture of your cookies.
Mom has it.
Oh, she has it? Okay, great, yeah. So when you frost your cookies and put them together, send us a picture and I'll share it with Chef Christy.
Oh, I just ate one of my cookies.
Huh?
I just ate one of my cookies.
What'd you think?
They're good.
They are, aren't they? You did a great job.
You did.
And I still have more batter left over.
Oh, well, bake me some more cookies.
You can bake some more cookies, yeah. While your icing is getting together, you can bake some more cookies.
We basically had like a little bit of the stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
So I can make like tons more.
Okay, great. That's fantastic. You have the recipe, right?
Yeah, I have the 2 papers. But
Okay,
I
that's
still
fantastic.
I have like a half a bag of 1 powdered sugar and a whole bag, and then a full bag of brown sugar, and then 2 boxes of brown sugar. I have a big old bag of all-purpose flour, and then I still have baking powder, baking soda, everything I need.
Okay, good. Then you can make some for your friends.
Nope. And I still got my pumpkin spice.
Oh, good. Good.
And I still got some of my pumpkin puree.
Nice. Very good.
I'm a good saver.
You are a good saver. Good. Well, thank you for joining us today. We really enjoyed you, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, thank you guys.
When's next time?
We'll probably do something for Christmas. So right before Christmas, we'll probably do something. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Bye.